Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Stuart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moya Swerdlow.
And Jade Emperor. And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the middle of October 2019. And so I hear many people asking loudly, what is Stuart wearing? I've never seen this before. And so this is actually the first birthday present I've received 3 weeks early from my family and friends in it is Soviet, in Novosibirsk. And I will read because I told them that was a very touchy note. And it says, Dear Stuart, little something to remind you that somewhere, far, far away, you are deeply missed and loved. Happy birthday. And it's from wonderful Alisa and Larissa.
And so if you want to have your little note read, just give lots of gifts and Stuart will read your note and say your name on our podcast.
And actually, Alisa has the same birthday as me, November 5. So I say early to her, Sedniem Rozdenia. And that's a happy birthday to her in Russian. And so 3 weeks early we are starting.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, actually a month early because last week we went to dinner for my birthday. So it was a month early. And even though it's freezing cold.
And I have long sleeves.
I know, it's very, very cold outside and even in the house. And so I wore this just to show my friends in Russia. Very happy for my birthday present. Now, for serious things. And this story, I'm not sure if it's true. And but I've heard it and seen it in several different places in the news. So I will just in case. And I'm sure many of you have heard this already, that U.S. Marine reserves have been activated for, quote, emergency within the United States, which will come with little warning and is a threat to the homeland. And according to this information, it is based on a coup attempt against President Trump, which I understand has already occurred more than once.
No, we talked about the one when he was flying.
That was last year. And so this is from order number 550/19, if it's correct. And it is in order to activate duty to provide assistance in response to a major disaster or emergency, a total force mobilization, activation, integration, and deactivation plan. That's a lot of shuns. And according to this, a federal assistance in response to a major disaster or emergency within the United States, a response to a threat in the homeland. They call this homeland. This is a homeland. And so it activates the Marine Corps, the Forces North, and the Forces Pacific. So I guess since we're in the middle, we're safe. And the order also appears to underscore something called Involuntary Activation Authority.
Whatever that means.
Well, it explains Involuntary Activation Authority is to ensure coordination is conducted with the Marines in the Pacific, the Marines in the North, regarding the expected or planned mobilizations. Again, I don't understand that. And it contains direct evidence that for all intents and purposes, the people of the United States who are loyal to the President and to the Constitution are at war with the international forces from the United Nations who are illegally in our country in great numbers. Now, I heard this long time ago about the United Nations forces in the United States. According to this information, there's a force of 750,000 to 1.2 million UN soldiers with equipment that Americans are. I don't believe it. Personally, we would see it.
I would think so. Somebody would see it.
It said most of the UN troops are originally spotted in geographic areas associated with Trump political support. Obama signed documents in December of 2016 prior to leaving office that grants the UN the authority to enter the United States to restore order in their image. This I know is true. So this is a coup and a potential civil war at the same time, which I have said for the last 3 years.
Well, even Trump had said that.
That I think we're already in one.
And Trump said that.
It says the Navy is also being, not just the Marines, but also the Navy. So I'm not sure if this is actually true, but there is evidence of suspected coup and assassination attempts in the past year. So we have to keep our eyes open. And quite honestly, hopefully this will be posted a little bit before then, but information is that Monday, October 14th, was just Columbus Day, that something might happen on that day. We'll see. I don't know if it will or not. Now, according to what's going on in the news, this Ukrainian meddling and then the impeachment idea, it says, according to this information, the foreign meddling claim is a joke. It happens every day in Washington through foreign government lobbying, which is the truth. The Democrats are also involved in foreign meddling. Look, U.S. has been involved in that since it began. Okay, and they blame Trump. Yeah, listen, Nancy Pelosi took money from Ukraine lobbyists. Chuck Schumer took money from Saudi Arabia and Mexico, and on and on and on. So the idea that Trump committed abuse of power is again a joke. They all do it. It's just that President Trump is more open about it. And it says here also Kurt Volker, who is the special envoy to Ukraine. He says the issue of a hold placed on security assistance to Ukraine also came up during the same time that he was connected to these Giuliani and so on. He said, I did not perceive these issues to be linked in any way. No link between Giuliani investigation, agenda, and aid. And it goes on to say that under President Trump, unemployment is lowest in 50 years. That's why he was elected. Jobs and dignity after decades of stagnation and disrespect. Immigration brought under control after decades of open border. And China is finally confronted after decades of selling out the United States and surrendering it. Yes, he's upset because they always blame Russia for everything, and it's a disgrace. The Democrats' obsession with scandal is out of touch and decadent, and people want to have substance, not scandal. Now, in an 8-page letter from the White House to Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats, the Trump administration said they will not cooperate with Democrats' impeachment inquiry into the president related to Ukraine. And I will quote, it says, to Nancy and the Democrats, you have denied the president the right to cross-examine witnesses, to call witnesses, to receive transcripts of testimony, to have access to evidence, to have counsel present, and many other basic rights guaranteed to all Americans. You have conducted your proceedings in secret. You have violated civil liberties and the separation of powers by threatening executive branch officials, claiming you will seek to punish those who exercise fundamental constitutional rights and prerogatives. All of this violates the Constitution, the rule of law, and every past precedent. You have designed and implemented your inquiry in a manner that violates fundamental fairness and constitutionally mandated the process. Your highly partisan and unconstitutional effort threatens grave and lasting damage to our democratic institutions, to our system of free elections, and to the American people. And Rudy Giuliani, the lawyer for the president, says, for years, Obama had pay-for-play operation in his administration, and it's disgusting and one of the reasons they're fighting so hard. If Biden comes out, so does Clinton come out, and about 3 others. This goes right to the top of the Obama administration, and the administration that said it didn't have any scandals will be the most scandal-ridden administration in U.S. history. Obama did not care about ethics. And that Biden, he said a vice president should have been stopped from doing this by a president who had the slightest bit of integrity.
Jade agrees.
Jade is translating into Russian dog.
Dog.
Russian wolf language. Well, he's trying to speak in English. He doesn't speak English very well.
He can't believe it.
No. And it said that they paid millions of dollars to Vice President Biden and hundreds of millions to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. They just bought the offices. They are crooks. Now, former Vice President Joe Biden was personally paid $900,000 for lobbying activities from Burisma Holdings in Ukraine, according to the Ukrainian politician Andrei Derkach. Derkach said this was a transfer of Burisma Group funds to lobbying activities, as investigators believe, personally to Joe Biden through a lobbying company. Funds in the amount of $900,000 were transferred to the U.S.-based company Rosemont Seneca Partners, which, according to open sources, in particular the New York Times, is affiliated with Biden, and the payment was for consultative services. I would be consultant for even half of that.
I would, a third.
So if
even.
Ukrainian, I will do for $500,000. I will be their consultant. How about that? I will do it. Now, Biden's fifth visit to Kiev in December of 2015 was devoted to making a decision on the resignation of then Ukrainian Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin over the case of Zlochevsky and Burisma. I'll explain. Loan guarantees worth $1 billion that the United States was to give to Ukraine was the point of pressure. Biden himself admitted exerting pressure on his speech at the Council of Foreign Relations in January 2018 and called Shokin, quote, son of a bitch who was fired. Why was he fired? Because he was investigating Biden. And some accounts, Hunter was given $200,000 a month.
Wow.
For,
I take that for 1 year.
For zero experience in the field of operations.
I did that for 1 year.
I would do it for just a couple of months. I would do for half. Okay?
A good deal.
Vice President Joe Biden, then Vice President Biden, went to oversee U.S. dealings with Ukraine, threatened to withhold $1 billion in loan guarantees to Ukraine unless they fired Shokin, who was investigating him. But he's now calling Trump corrupt. Really, the pot calling the kettle black. And so the next story again, I don't know if it's true, but it sounds plausible. That's why I'm presenting it to you. It says the deep state Democrats, which are now considered to be a terrorist network, I agree, have a plan to install Hillary Clinton as president of the United States before the end of the year. God forbid we would all commit suicide.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Step one, fake impeachment happening. Create media hysteria. That's happening. Stage two, stage an arrest of President Trump and Vice President Pence and his cabinet. Stage three, swear in Nancy Pelosi as president, because she's next in line, God forbid, times 1,000,000. Step four, Nancy Pelosi appoints Hillary Clinton as her vice president. Step five, Nancy Pelosi resigns as president, making the vice president, Hillary, the president. And step six, Hillary then appoints vice president, perhaps Brennan, to strengthen the deep state administration, and then she can stage or create mass arrest, execution of Trump supporters. She's very upset about this. And create an authoritarian Clinton police state. That was her intention all along, and we know that the Clintons had a death squad when they were in charge of Arkansas. We know this. But here's what they will be up against. Now he's throwing things because he's so freaking mad. He's throwing his bone against the wall. The Democrats are forgetting what will prevent this. One, President Trump is the commander-in-chief and can order the military police to arrest them as traitors. The U.S. Supreme Court now supports President Trump and would hold emergency hearings on any such actions. This is the most important. Tens of millions of armed Americans will not put up with a political coup by what they're calling demon rats. I call demon crats. They agree. And then, and this is very important, people, about disarming the public and why it's important about gun control to not have such a strict effect. Because the Second Amendment was created precisely for the purpose of allowing an armed citizenry to engage and defeat a tyrannical government that abuses the rule of law. So if other countries had that law, that constitutional amendment, they wouldn't have dictatorships like they do now. So the backlash of what the Democrats think they will do will actually blow up in their own face. And most people I know, and you know, globally support you and support Trump. And based on that, we are posting a video online by Carolyn Stephens in the UK. She's a politician in UK about Brexit and how the EU is seeking to destroy the monarchy, make Queen Elizabeth abdicate. That's why she hasn't given it over to
William or Charles?
Charles, because she knows that she may have to abdicate. Anyway, there may be no monarchy. So anyway, this is very serious stuff going on. Next thing is, we should work at the Hadron Collider.
Would we make $200,000 a month there?
Well, maybe more. You know why?
Why?
Because maintenance teams within the Hadron Collider have found what appeared last week to be yellow paint coating the concrete skin of the structure, but since has been identified as a thin coating of gold and platinum and rare earth elements. So the project head, Dr. Avril Blagueur, announced to her team that a 10-micron hazing of gold, platinum, scandium, and yttrium had been found around the outermost protective barrier, and we are perplexed as to how this hazing has occurred, and are currently establishing a time frame for its deposit by investigating past maintenance records. I think other maintenance people scraped it, put it in their pocket.
Maybe so.
Well, it's just some paint. We'll get rid of it for you. And so gold and platinum can be the result of interdimensional energies that form at high levels. Now, do you want to be miserable?
No.
Well, if you do, there are just 3 states that will make you miserable.
And every other state will make me happy.
Well, these are the most. Because Business Insider recently released its list of the 50 most miserable cities in America.
And I want to know this because why?
10 of them are in California.
That I believe.
Duh. 9 are in New Jersey. Hello, the whole freaking state's miserable. And 6 are, of course, my favorite, Florida. Yes, and they account for half the list. That means 25 of the 50 are in those 3 states. No surprise. I'm surprised that others aren't listed. But Gary, Indiana is actually the most miserable city in the country. But Indiana itself didn't make the list of the top there. And Gary, Indiana is followed by Port Arthur, Texas, and Detroit. And what did they look at? Few opportunities, devastation from natural disasters, high crime, addiction rates, and many abandoned houses. Now, last week we spoke about the global warming scam and how the records were and so on. And so the first heavy snowfall of the season fell in Mount Olympus, Greece.
Wow.
Greece. And there is a Mount Olympus there, did you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it said it went to -4 Celsius, and the slopes and peaks of Mount Olympus are filled with snow. And they also had to rescue people in northern India, in the Himalayas, because it's also packed with snow now. Mm-hmm. And here it is, middle October, and for the second time already, since September, the second major blizzard in the United States and Canada. Mm-hmm. Feet of snow.
Well, none of that in Colorado. They set a record from the drop in temperatures from one day to the other.
Yeah, 60-degree drop, and even here, dropped really significant and very freezing cold.
Yeah. So I have a Nancy Pelosi story for you.
Ah, she's so famous.
Actually, it's about her son. Paul Pelosi Jr. visited Ukraine in 2017.
What the heck is with Ukraine?
To meet with government officials in connection to a business initiative.
You know, I was in Ukraine. No one gave me money.
I don't know why not.
I didn't know that. I had to give that money.
Unearthed records reveal that Paul Pelosi Jr. was an executive of a gas industry company that did business in Ukraine, and his mother, Nancy Pelosi, was featured in one of the company's promotional videos. Did you know that?
No.
He traveled to Kiev in July 2017 in his capacity as Executive Director of the Corporate Governance Initiative, a position that he accepted months earlier in February of 2017. The American Mirror, which flagged Pelosi Jr.'s appearance in 2017, preserved a clip of Pelosi Jr. on the Ukrainian station following the video's removal from YouTube. Apparently, Paul Pelosi Jr. previously held top positions with the energy sector companies Visquoil Group and NRG Lab. And on March 5th, 2013, NRG Lab New Technology posted 2 videos on YouTube, since removed. One video opened with a clip of Nancy Pelosi discussing energy-efficient technology, followed by a direct-to-camera statement from her son, filmed in Washington, D.C. in 2010, that said, "My name's Paul Pelosi. Of course, I'm on the board of Visquoil, and Visquoil is here today to talk about accelerating the future."
And widening his pockets.
What's also interesting is that Paul Pelosi Jr. co-founded the company Natural Blue Resources, with which the SEC charged with securities fraud in 2014. And also Nancy Pelosi led a congressional delegation to Ukraine in 2015 to discuss issues including energy security. So all these people are coming out in the wash, which is why they're fighting so diligently.
Well, did they think that nobody would find out about what they did there?
Well, now here, this next one is exceedingly interesting. This is about Trump, because apparently he made a tweet in that he said that the Clinton campaign also sought out information from foreign government officials to help boost her campaign during the 2016 election. Apparently he was referring to a 7-month-old report from Politico, which found that Ukrainian officials working with the Democratic National Convention to help do opposition research on Trump in order to help Clinton's campaign. This research was also leaked to several American journalists, according to the report. They found that veteran DNC operative Alexandra Chalupa
Not you get that at Chipotle.
sought out information to damage the Trump campaign after media reports speculated Paul Manafort had ties to Russia. She sought out help to do this from the Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. and one of his top aides with the DNC's encouragement. The report also explained how Ukrainian officials admitted to working very closely with Chalupa, who then shared this information with the DNC. One official told Politico they were coordinating any investigation with the Hillary team on Paul Manafort with Alexandra Chalupa. Chalupa told him that if we can get enough information on Paul Manafort or Trump's involvement with Russia, she can get a hearing in Congress by September. This was during the election time. So very interesting stuff. And as it says, they're all like fighting each other at the top to try and maintain equilibrium some way. Now, speaking of what's going on, I don't know if you remember, but back July 31, 2018, do you remember that day?
Of course.
We posted a video, and it was one that I specifically did. It was called Black Left-Eyed Royals, Entertainers, and Politicians, and Soul
Wow,
Scouting.
that was over a year ago.
It was a long time, and this one, this one went viral. We had so many views on that one. So,
especially because you gave me a black eye.
maybe. So, speaking of black eyes, have you seen Jimmy Carter's black eye?
No, but that could be from decomposition.
He has got 14 stitches, a black left eye, and they show him back building houses. Now, like we talked about in this one back July 2018, they can cover all that stuff with makeup. So why he's out with this horrible black eye, which he said he fell, they all have.
I think his wife hit him.
And if you go back to this YouTube video that we did back July 31st, 2018, the link is posted in the links that we do above all the stories. Or all the comments, I mean, then you'll see this one, and it shows a lot of pictures in the links about all these people.
They don't like him.
Yeah. Yeah, dogs love this cold weather. So they're having a good time with themselves.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, because I'm sure you will. So, and then I want to go on with my New World Religion story and the Kardashians. Because the Kardashians continue to do weird things that are around religion. So, Kim Kardashian went to Armenia with her children, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm.
Oh my God. She should be executed for naming them that.
Apparently they were all...
When they grow up, they're going to hate her.
They were all baptized there. And in April of 2015... Kim went and baptized their oldest daughter, North, into the Armenian Apostolic Church in Jerusalem.
Oh, how was that place?
Yeah.
And also in Armenia, I went
And
to that church.
apparently, while Kim was in Armenia, she also was baptized. And she made a big statement about how she was blessed to have been baptized.
But how did they fit her big butt into the baptismal
They didn't
font?
say. Because here they say that in their Orthodox church, they have your number 3 immersions into a baptismal font filled with holy water, differing from the Roman Catholic Church, where the priest pours it over their head. So
I
how they
think
immersed her, I don't know.
No, they probably had to do her butt first.
Maybe.
And
then the rest of it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And she and her daughter both had the thing over the head, making them look like the Madonna, of course.
Of course.
Right? And interestingly enough, if you didn't
Madonna
know,
West.
Yeah, that Robert Kardashian, her father, was the grandson of Armenian migrants, and he was also O.J. Simpson's attorney.
Yeah, I know that.
So, a lot of people out there might not realize that these people didn't just appear
Well,
and get
he's dead now.
famous. Yes, but there's a reason why these people are carrying on their lineage. And in Utah...
Well, she's useless otherwise. She has to do something to make herself, in
Well,
public.
let's also do with New World Religion,
Does
I'm
absolutely
sure.
nothing.
Of course she does. She runs around with this thing on her head and baptizes her children.
Look, I found a wolf.
Yeah, a big wolf.
A white wolf.
Yeah, a white wolf.
Can't say that because it's racist.
I guess so. We won't tell her. Him. Kanye West defends his support for Trump during his Sunday service in Utah, claiming it's mental slavery to base political views on race, and it was the Republican Party that freed the slaves. He had 10,000 people.
Who said this?
Kanye West.
Oh.
You know, Ye?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ye.
Yeah.
Ye. Ye. Anyway, it began as a testimony about his journey to religious enlightenment, but then turned political, and he went on to say that allowing decisions to be based on or influenced by skin color is a form of slavery. And he also hit out against mind controllers in the media.
That's good.
Which is good. And then somebody wrote in, so I looked this one up, so thank you for this little tip, that Kanye hangs out with somebody called Jay-Z.
Jay-Z and Kanye?
Jay-Z calls himself Jehovah or Hova.
But that's my name.
And he calls himself the god of rap.
That's me.
And then there was...
He's stealing my identity.
Well, here's another one. This one's called Rhapsody. It's a female. Do you identify as a female today?
Well, if I was what do they call it? Non-binary.
There you go. Well, no, non-binary, you're neither. This is a female. Rhapsody says she's the goat.
She's a goat?
She says, call me the goat. I don't mean to gloat as part of her things. Now, goat is a satanic term.
Well, it can be, yes.
Can be.
Although I do like it in gravy and with...
Yeah. But I just thought that was interesting. And on top of that, now there is a new hoof shoe that's coming out.
Oh, you're kidding.
I don't know if it's just for women or men, but no, it's got...
Who could fit in
looks like
that?
a hoof.
That would hurt.
So, anyway, but they're making a big deal out of the hoof shoe. So, and speaking of gun control, this was a very interesting article. They don't really care.
No, they don't.
They're just having a good time.
Mm-hmm. It's wolf season.
Yeah, it's nice and
And
cold
it's nice
outside.
and cold, and they love it.
Yeah, so they're running in and out
Freezing
and up
cold.
and down. So, as we know, in the UK, it's very challenging to get a gun of any kind. However,
Or dental care.
they're one of the highest violent crime rates for a Western capital city without guns. Now, they're talking about a lot of gun control here in the U.S. So it says that according to the FBI, more than 5 times as many people were killed in 2018 by knives, clubs, and other cutting instruments than with rifles.
That's what I'm saying. Gun control is ridiculous because they just find something else.
Right, and apparently not only that, but it's more interesting that more than 100 people were killed with hammers and clubs than were killed by rifles. And there were 443 people killed with hammers, clubs, or other blunt objects. And what's even more interesting, listen to this, is that in 2018 there were 672 deaths from fists, feet, and other what's called personal weapons.
What does that mean, personal weapon?
Which is more, once again, than rifles.
Oh, it's like that, body parts?
Body parts. So now, of course, we should ban fists and feet.
And bodies.
Because they're potentially deadly weapons. That makes sense to me, right?
What about headbutting?
Right.
Bang your head.
Exactly. Those kind of things. So
I saw a video on someone being headbutted.
yeah, so that's what I'm telling you. So when we're talking about guns, like we keep telling you, it has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with people.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
You could kill somebody with a
headbutt.
spoon.
A headbutt. All right, and then what are you going to do? Cut off everybody's heads because
I think they
that's
should.
a potential.
Especially in Britain, they should have their heads
could
cut
do it.
off. Yeah.
Okay. And then now this was an interesting story to me because there was a man who accidentally shot himself in the heart with a nail gun. He
must have been very smart.
No, they said he was a contractor for many
Yeah,
years. He doesn't know what
him.
happened.
Yeah.
It was the number 3, a 3-inch framing nail went into his chest. Now that, okay, I kind of said that's really too bad, and I'm glad the guy lived. But then the next thing that happened, they show a guy who put a 3-inch nail into his leg. And they said that was an accident. So if you've got a nail gun, be careful, because I don't know what's going on with these 3-inch nail guns, but it sounds like bad news.
I think they need to be not contractors anymore.
And not use 3-inch nails. Wasn't there no, it was 9-inch nails was the name of a group.
Yes,
9-inch nails.
my manager was their manager.
Yeah. All right, and then in BC, a BC woman who provides support and planning services for people nearing the end of their lives has won the right in court to call herself a death midwife, sometimes known as a death doula, who provides spiritual, emotional, and physical care to a person nearing the end of their lives. Apparently,
I need that in my life.
Apparently, BC's Douglas College even offers a program for death doulas. However, the College of Midwives of British Columbia sought an injunction to stop one death midwife named Mary Moon from calling herself a midwife, because they argue that Mary Moon is not a member of the College of Midwives and that her use of the midwife title violated BC's Health Professionals Act HPA. However, it was ruled in her favor. She can call herself a death midwife.
Good for her.
So now we know there's death midwives around. And speaking of young people's front, there was a teen, and for some reason I didn't write where it was, but I know it was in the U.S., who was given birth control implant at school without her parents' permission.
Oh, yeah. It was in the South somewhere.
Was it? I was thinking New Jersey, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, maybe.
I didn't.
Oh, Baltimore. It was Baltimore.
That's right, Baltimore, Maryland. Yep. A woman found out that her 16-year-old daughter received birth control implant at school after the teen started complaining about headaches and arm pain. So she sent her daughter to her pediatrician, who found out that this implant had been put in improperly, like to the back of her arm instead of her upper arm.
First of all, you don't go to school for a birth control implant.
I was a little blown away, but it said, according to this, that the state law permitted minors to receive contraception services confidentially dating back nearly 50 years. Ridiculous. And the mother went to the school, and the school said, I can't tell you anything.
Actually, that's not how she said it.
Well, that's enough. You can look at the link if you want to see how she said. That's enough. Okay, then there is apparently hundreds of young transgender people who are now seeking help to return to their original sex, even after they've had the reassignment surgery.
You can't put parts back, people.
So apparently there is a young woman who I believe was born a female and then was transitioning to a male and stopped.
Well, at least that you could take off.
If they have their breasts and everything cut out, and they do terrible things to women.
But then they give them things to make them grow back, right?
No, they cut out. You can put in implants, but it's never going to be the same. Like, you can't nurse a baby.
I don't talk about it.
But you started it.
You did. You said it.
You started it. Anyway, so apparently this woman has started a where am I? 5, 6, 7. There we go. She said that she was shunned by the LGBT community for being a traitor, so she started a charity called the Detransition Advocacy Network, because there are so many people who don't know their options, and she said they're mostly female, they're mostly in around 1920s, maybe mid-20s, she said, who've had full gender reassignment that wish they hadn't, and their dysphoria had not been relieved. They don't feel better from having gone through all this stuff.
That's what I've been telling them.
We've been telling everybody this since this all nutsiness started. Anyway, what was interesting, and this article put in a report or a comment by the Tavistock and Portman National Health Services Trust, which offers trust, that's a weird oxymoron here, offers gender identity services for children under 18 with some patients as young as 3 or 4 years old. They said they have a record number of referrals, i.e. people to experiment on, 30 to 100% more patients than they did 10 years ago, with the increase for females being up by 5,337%. So, of course, what's going to happen, you're going to find these people that are going to have issues. But according to Tavistock and Portman NHS Trust, they talked about how wonderful it is and nobody ever has any problems and so on and so forth. So, anyway, what this Detransition Advocacy Network is hoping for is more options than gender transition, which again is what we've talked about. And even pediatricians here in the U.S., I know I've talked about it. It's a terrible thing they're doing to people. So with that said, aliens. So in case you haven't read, we have a lot of work on aliens. Montauk Alien Connection, Blue Blood, True Blood, Galactic History, Aliens, if you like aliens. We've got lots of stuff about that in our work. A Navy pilot. Did you hear about this one? He's retired. David Fravor claimed that on October 5th, a mystery dark mass emerged from the ocean depths and swallowed a torpedo hole.
Could have been one of the, I won't say it.
No. But anyway, it's not a submarine. And they said it happened a second time once they pulled apparently the diver and the torpedo out of the water. The object descended back into the depths. And the other pilot thought the incident was strange, he said. But they said, no, it's not a submarine. They've seen submarines before. Once you've seen a submarine, you can't confuse it with something else. This big object, kind of circular, is coming up from the depths.
And what ocean was it?
I don't know that I have in this article, but I'm sure you can see the link and find out. Maybe they don't want people to know because they don't want them out there looking for whatever.
I don't want to go swimming in that ocean. If some big black thing's going to come and eat me.
This big object, kind of circular, is coming up from the depths. He starts screaming through the intercom system to tell them to pull the diver up. The diver's only a few feet from the water. They reverse the winch and the diver's thinking, what the hell is going on? And then all of a sudden, he said the torpedo just got sucked down underwater and the object just descended back into the depths.
So he survived.
Fravor said they never recovered the torpedo. The helicopter pilot was adamant that the torpedo didn't sink as it literally looked like it got sucked down. So that was
Maybe it was like a
interesting.
big whale or something.
It's not going to, if it has something like that, a swallowed torpedo, I would think the thing would like have blown up. And then speaking of, again, alien stuff, I think you and I talked about this, about the cattle that were mutilated in Oregon, in remote eastern Oregon, my country. I lived in that area for a while. 5 young purebred bulls mysteriously showed up dead on the ranch this past summer, drained of blood, with body parts precisely removed.
Ooh.
And so when this reporter went out to look at it, it said the bull looks like a giant deflated plush toy. Even though it smells, there's no sign of buzzards, coyotes, or other scavengers. And the coat is as shiny as if he were going to the fair. But he's bloodless, and his tongue and genitals have been surgically cut out.
That sounds like some of those transgender people.
Now, these bulls apparently were top breeding bulls, and so they were valued around $6,000 each. Plus, they've lost all their future generations that they were depending on these bulls to help for their... So this is a huge loss to the ranch.
Those criminal aliens...
Yeah, now the ranch staff members are now required to ride in pairs and are encouraged to carry arms, like that's going to help.
Yeah.
But officially it says what's clear is it isn't bears, wolves, cougars, or poisonous plants, and the animals were not shot. And then they said 2 years ago around Pendleton, Oregon, they found a cow also cut up and bloodless. And even though they drove around the corpse, they never found any tracks. And they said in the dusty country, whatever you do leaves tracks. There were no tracks. And it says that the udder had been removed with a sharp knife, and again, not a drop of blood anywhere. So Harney County Sheriff's Office is continuing to investigate the killings, and the Silvies Valley Ranch has put up a $25,000 reward for information that could solve the case. So maybe you should.
I know who did it.
Yeah. So
I'll do it for $20,000.
There you go. Save them $5. Mm-hmm. And then my last story is about Planet 9. I don't know if you saw this one or not. It says it may not be a planet at all, but rather a primordial black hole in a shocking study. Because it says primordial black holes are hypothetical black holes that form soon after the universe. Researchers have not been able to locate them yet, but researchers believe they are prevalent and may play a role in the existence of dark matter, which is believed to account for 85% of all matter in the known universe.
Really?
So lots of interesting things going on. The whole world is being mushed up, mixed up. So you want to take a look at our Healing Archetypes and Symbols books, because this will help you to stay sane and all the insaneness that's going on. And these are phenomenal new books. King Bee, Queen Bee, Templated Godmine. We just got the second printing back because the first printing sold out.
And I'm now almost finished with the third in that series, which will be called Revelation, of time, space, history, and God.
Okay, and that one we're not sure. Hopefully around the first of
I
the
should
year.
be finished with it this coming
And
week.
it has to be edited, laid out, printed, and so forth. So we're
I
hoping.
need to be edited and laid out.
So we're hoping that it's going to be ready sometime around the first of the year, but we'll see how that works out. And my webinars have started again. That self-healing. I didn't bring the book, but it's on my affirmations book. So we've got a great group of people. Got that going. If you're a member of our website, expansions.com, remember from my Decoding Your Life book, which took us 3 years to go through. It's an amazing series, again, which helps you to put your head on correctly. That's free to our members on the site, amongst all other kinds of free stuff. And I want to remind you that please, we have so many people that write in. We just want one question. We just want to talk to you for 5 minutes. Want this, want that. You want this. We have hundreds of these same requests every single day. That's why we have our membership site, less than $1 a day. You can ask your questions so that if we take the time to answer them, everybody can benefit, not just you. So if you want just you to benefit, it's being very selfish. So put your questions on our membership site, less than $1 a day, expansions.com.
And come to the January class.
The January class is going to be phenomenal. That's on our health and healing. We're still waiting for the layout of the medical book to be completed.
I hope by Christmas it's done. Everything.
I was hoping by around your birthday, but obviously it's not going to happen. The layout person said there's so many different layers. Every time she thinks she's done, she's not.
It's a big book.
And that's like we talked about the editing and the putting it together. It took us a long time to get that going.
Yes, and I requested last week also, but nobody responded.
No, we got a T-shirt.
But that's my birthday. For the Jordanian project with the Jordanian media and Egypt and the Israelis as well, we need about $30,000 to complete the project, and we're looking for people to donate that. And just this week, I received a message from the Archbishop of the Chaldean Church of the East, which is based in Brazil now, and he asked me to request, please, for funds so that they can purchase land to create indigenous herbal plants for medicinal purposes. And of course, I do have the medicinal license for indigenous medicine.
But don't they just go out and pick it in the jungle?
But they want to cultivate it so they have it all concentrated in one place on some land in Brazil, and build a small cathedral for the Chaldean Church, which of course we're part of that. And so again, he needs about $100,000.
Wow.
Yes, and he asked me, so I am doing it for him. So I won't be here next week.
No.
No.
You're going to be like beamed up or something?
Yes, I am actually going to be visiting the Kuiper Belt.
Wow. Can't wait to hear the report when you get back.
Yes, you'll get some reports.
Maybe take Jade and Jasmine with you so it's a little bit more quiet.
I need them here to guard you. And so I will see you 2 weeks from now.
All right, and I'll see you next week. So until then, remember, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we want to thank all of you who are doing that. We also want to thank all of our members and all of you who are very courteously sending in your questions to our Q&A blog on our membership site, expansions.com.
Bye for now.
Bye.